Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the SQ1 League Championship. And when I say welcome back, I mean welcome back from last week, because this is the first game of this week. I am, of course, Will Viper and Whittinger, but I'm joined by CJ, whose name is always short and sweet. CJ, how are you doing this evening?
My full name is in fact CJ, so it's pretty easy to do. You can't really forget it.
Long.
Oh yeah, dude. It's just one string, no surname. That's the one.
Not allowed. And we are excited to bring you the first match of tonight, which is going to be LGM versus TAP. Big game. Big exciting game for both of these teams. LGM, of course, we saw them last week going towards that top spot, really playing very, very well. And TAP, a bit of a different story for them rather than them being one of these top flying teams going for that title. They're kind of a bit of a gatekeeper team, a bit of a splice, if you will. They beat the teams below them. They don't necessarily beat the teams higher than them, but there's potential. There's a lot of potential for this game to be quite exciting, and maybe there might be an upset on the cards for this one.
It's true, and I mean, Team Alpha, they do have a 7-3 record, and as far as I'm aware, 2 of those losses are from forfeits, so it's a little bit skewed against them. However, you are correct, they haven't really shown that they're able to take it off these top 3 teams, the trifecta of Glorious Gaming, Royal Reapers, and Lao Gan Ma, all sitting at 8-2, as you guys could see on the scoreboards just there. So if we're going to look to separate these teams, we're going to implement a new system that I've devised this week, and I call it the Korean Rejects Benchmark Principle. And this, how we work this one out, right, is we find out how hard a team can beat Korean Rejects, and then we just measure them against each other to see who's really the stronger team here. So if we go back to last week, both of these teams played Korean Rejects, and LGM had a very strong victory in 22 minutes and 12 seconds with an 11.2k gold lead. So you see that, you go, okay, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
That is dominant. That is strong. This is a top of the league table team here. These guys are nailing it. But then if you go to Team Alpha, they won in 18 minutes and 41 seconds with a 13.5k gold lead. So if we take this principle, they are in fact favored to win here. Team Alpha is going to win in 18 minutes, confirmed. There we go.
Well, okay, my question for you then, taking this a step further. So if we can rank all the teams based on how quickly they beat Korean Rejects, where does Korean Rejects sit on this?
Well, considering they usually kind of beat themselves every week, they're actually at the top with 0.000 seconds.
Okay. So on that scale, Korean Rejects are the best.
They're actually the best team in the league, yeah.
They're ranked 1 on that scale. Yeah. And then TAP is higher than LGM.
Yeah, TAP is number 2, and then LGM is probably 3 or 4. So, I mean, LGM is pretty mid-tier, if you think about it.
Yeah, they are. They're quite average. Bang average team, you could say.
Bang average. Exactly.
Let's get into picks and bans on this one, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how I feel like this Korean Reject scale. I feel like it's like golf. I feel like it's like golf, where like the lower you are on the scale, the better.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the scale is definitely could do with some work. I did make it up about 5 minutes ago, but I mean, given that we're all on Square One, we're all very top tier analysts. I think that it's definitely they'll hold up in a court of law. So we are gonna get into Champ Select right here, and memes aside, let's talk about who needs to be taken away from these teams. So from the start, if you look at AMG, we've seen AMG play before. The first obvious thing is Vayne. We shouldn't see a Vayne allowed to play that, because that is just what Noah likes to play. He loves his Vayne, and he'll play it into any matchup. So I want to see that one taken away, unless Roasted wants to pick it early, because Roasted is obviously a very skilled Grandmaster ADC himself. And if we look at what has been taken away, it is Vlad from the side of AMG, definitely targeting Sojin, who is currently positioned in the mid lane, but from what we've seen of this guy, he might not stay there.
Yeah, he's a bit of a flexible player. He can go all around the map. He's a caster's worst nightmare, to be honest.
Actually,
LGM is just a casting worst nightmare all across the board, because they will come in, they'll pick random champions in random positions, then they'll swap or stay in whatever positions they want to, and then just win anyway. Whereas good old TAP, they stick around, they stay where they're meant to, and they pick the champions. Rek'Sai being banned out. For those of you who haven't played League for a little bit, Rek'Sai is actually one of the strongest junglers at the moment because of just a plethora of buffs that she received. Kennen being taken away, also quite a popular, strong pick at the moment, especially in those team fights. So 2 interesting bans that maybe you wouldn't expect to see a couple of patches ago, but now these 2 picks are definitely up there with the best of them. And we're just going to see the bans running down from these 2 teams as well, because I believe they both lost bans for being tardy.
They did indeed. They were a couple of minutes late, so both lost 1 ban. And I think that it's actually interesting how this interacts with these 2 teams, because losing bans for some teams, when you have, to put it bluntly, one-tricks like Noah who play Vayne and a couple other things, but really, like, he's quite a limited champion pool that we have seen. losing bans could hurt quite a lot because you really need to have your champions available. So if your opponent has lost bans, it means they are less able to take away your signature champions. However, if you're a player like Sojin, who plays every champion in the game in every lane, as far as I'm aware, ban losses don't really matter because they can't ban you out. So it's interesting how this interacts, and I think that LGM is slightly favored off the back of ban losses just because they've shown a wider variety of styles and champions so far in this league. The bans that they are going to have taken away on their side are the Zac, obviously away from Piney's Pineapple. This is a no-brainer. And then Kennen away from Paka, which is another no-brainer. A very much a teamfight impact champion that is a lot safer than his usual tanks that we used to see him on. And that is pretty interesting, actually. They did lock in the Cassiopeia on the side of Team Alpha there. And that's been matched by a Kassadin from the side of LGM. What do you think about this one, Viper?
Well, I know that Artemis plays Caston. Currently in ranked, it's the second most played champion.
Ooh.
So I'm looking at that. And I'm thinking Artemis.
Ooh, taking it
That's
to the top
that's
lane.
going to be you, isn't it? And the question is, will they move Artemis mid? Because of course, Sujin, he can play anywhere. Artemis, arguably, don't watch the Malphite highlights from last week, can play most roles. So
yeah, I mean, we've seen him in mid and top and support and ADC so far. Yeah, as you said, to varying success. You know, he's just kind of like cup price Sojin in that way. But luckily they're on the same team. Exactly. And that is going to be matched up by Xin Zhao from Piney's Pineapple. So he's going to take definitely a different champion the way it likes to play than Zac, I feel, early on. It's very aggressive early on. Quite similar to the Rek'Sai, though, that was taken away. A lot of early skirmishing, snowballing your lanes, and able to fight that enemy jungler, wanting to take fights early on. That's going to be rounded out with a Tristana AD carry for Noah, since the Vayne was taken away to be put in the hands of Roasted on Lao Gan Ma's side. So they did take away the Vayne from Noah, didn't let him get that one for free. Alpha was more interested in prioritizing the Cassiopeia for James. It's a very strong champion in that lane. Relatively safe using the Miasma, and it's got so much late game damage that when it's paired with this Tristana, the amount of DPS that is going to come out of Team Alpha late in this game is really scary.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of damage coming through. It's an interesting pick. We see Elise rounding out these first 6 picks. The Vayne is very interesting. Obviously, you assume that's going to go on to Rawstead, although I've heard things about Tank Vayne top that I'm not going to repeating here.
And we know Artemis did used to play AD carry.
Ooh, well.
I mean, I feel like we're just getting baited. Remember last week when we were like, oh wow, they're going to take this interesting pick? Yeah, and we just got memed and it was just basic. So
that was one of the biggest disappointments of my casting career, that game. Exactly. Really upsetting. But the Vayne pick is interesting because Rawstead, Vayne is probably one of the strongest marksmen at the moment with the rework and the items. She's doing a lot of work, a lot of damage right now. Rawstead isn't actually known for his Vayne play. He plays mainly Kai'Sa and Sivir are his 2 signatures, both of whom are all right in the current meta. Neither of them are banned, but he chose to pick the Vayne so that Noah doesn't get it. Noah's second most played champion is Kai'Sa, so both of them should, in theory, be contesting Kai'Sa. Instead, Noah / Just End It, which is his name change now, goes to pick Tristana, trying to match this kind of late game hyper carry attack speed crit boy with another one.
Yeah, so I think it's a fair enough pick, honestly, because with Fantasy LoL, obviously we have to see that Lao Gan Ma has taken away both Thresh and Morgana, which are Fantasy LoL's signature picks here. Yeah. But with a player like Fantasy LoL, who is very skilled at the playmaking side of support, having Tristana in that lane, I don't think there's actually a better AD carry in the game right now to follow up on your support engages and to clear up those kills and get kills in lane using the explosive shot and the rocket jump combo. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Fantasy LoL on something like a Pyke. I know he's played that before, and I think it can fulfill the same role. And that adds, I mean, LGM have just they've done the research. They've sniped it.
Stream snipe. What I'm going to point out very quickly is that Team Alpha have decided to ban 2 top laners against LGM, when Artemis is a casting player and should, in theory, be playing top lane for them.
Yeah,
so
we can't really say that.
Is this the biggest heist of all time?
Exactly. You do have to say they've banned it against LGM. They haven't banned it against Artemis or Sojin or anybody. They've only banned it against the team because who knows who's going where. I mean, who knows if it's flipping Pyke top at this point just to take that one away from Fantasy LoL. I think that LGM is definitely hate drafting this one. They've taken away the Zac, the Kennen, and the two signature supports, plus the signature AD carry, and the last kind of remnant support. So I think they're really focusing on just trying to stop Alpha being able to play their game. And we'll have to see how that works out for them. Alpha has still drafted an Alpha team comp. They've got hyper carry damage dealers, they've got a tank in the top lane, they've got a tanky peeling support, and they've got a jungler who is just kind of a medium power level, as in like medium attack, medium tankiness kind of jungler. So they've still managed to build a comp that serves their needs. The only thing it's really missing is Fantasy's ability to engage. And that's going to be a dog in the top lane. So it looks like going to put Artemis on a stacking champion here to go up against this Maokai. It's interesting that we have Maokai, actually. He just kind of got locked in, but we haven't seen a Maokai
No,
in
that's an
competitive
interesting
route
pick.
for a long time. It fits P.A.K.A. It's a P.A.K.A. champion for sure, but we'll have to see how well he can pilot it. We don't know how much work he's been putting into it recently. So this will be interesting. I think that the top lane is just going to be a sustain fest, and it's going to be all on the junglers to really break this one open. However, P.A.K.A. does have a unique tendency to be able to just get solo kills and win fights in top lane with tanks that shouldn't be able to do so. We'll have to see how Artemis holds up under that pressure. But Fantasy has been robbed of this pick style engage. He does have an engage in that he has Tahm Kench's ult. He can dive his whole team, bring Piney's Pineapple or P.A.K.A. into that backline with the Tahm Kench ultimate, but it's not nearly as consistent. You can't really play around vision as much with the Tahm Kench. It's more about keeping your carry safe. So without that unique element of their style, we'll have to see if they can find another way to get things started in their favor.
LGM have done it again.
Did they actually do it? Or are they going to swap?
Sujin's he's on Pike currently, and
sure.
DS is playing what currently looks like Casted in support with teleport, but I imagine he's going to be going mid because he is a mid lane player, and Sujin is going to be going support on this Pike.
Yes. So I mean, the champions are at least in the lanes we thought they were going to be in. It's just that the players have swapped sort of. I think Sojin has been playing more support recently. He's playing a lot of Zillion support, particularly a bit of Xerath. We actually saw some Xerath support from him in Equinox League last weekend, and it was a bit of an awkward one. But I mean, he's definitely a very explosive player in the support role. He kind of matches up to Fantasy in that way that he's very much a playmaker and he's about winning lane and then translating that advantage into the game. He doesn't play with any fear from that role. And Pike is a champion that absolutely synergizes with that attitude. So I think that's a very strong pick for him. Plus, as I said earlier, the added value of taking away Fantasy Law's ability to do that. He now has to be the one on the back foot trying to keep Noah alive, which, to be honest, that's also not a bad idea because we've seen Noah's positioning has been somewhat questionable at times, shall we say.
It's been aggressive. His positioning is aggressive.
Very much aggressive, yes. But he does have the rocket jump with the reset on his explosive shot proc, and he has Fantasy to keep him alive here. So he does have the tools to stay alive, and I believe he will hopefully be able to do so. Tahm Kench has taken the cleanse as well, interestingly, when the amount of hard CC that he's going up against is really just... It's like Pike Hook, but the cleanse doesn't really help you that much against that. The stun, I guess, and the Elise stun. So he really wants to stay alive and wants to be mobile in these fights. Does not want to be caught out and separated from Noah. Wants to be able to keep him alive. While the side of LGM has gone a lot more aggressive. They got that ignite on the Pike. He looking to make some kills happen here. And then the teleports in the solo lanes.
Yeah, that's pretty standard from the current meta at the moment. I'm fixated on this Maokai pick, you know. I'm thinking the Nasus pick. The Nasus is smart into the Maokai because Maokai's not probably killing a Nasus. If Maokai's killing you one-on-one, something has probably gone wrong.
There's been a misplay somewhere.
There's been a misplay somewhere, or you've just disrespected a little bit of early damage. Maokai's not someone who does 0 damage early. If you get a sapling stacked in a bush and your Q as well, you can do a little bit, but if you're not able to pressure with kills, if Pity's Pineapple doesn't go top to pressure at Artemis is going to happily just sit there and stack. And assuming that he's not doing some cheesy like AP Nasus nonsense or something like that, assuming that he's going those traditional tanky stacking big dog in the top lane, you're gonna struggle against that when you're a Maokai. And Yuzinzao's going to have to do a lot of work. But because we were talking a little bit about this game earlier, and we were saying, oh, this is going to be like Noah versus Rawstead. That's where this happened. Noah, a very good player, arguably the best player on tap, but is sometimes a little bit questionable in his aggression and his placement. Rawstead, one of the best players in the league. I think it's fair to say, having watched for the entire length of the league right now, 10 plus games,
yeah, absolutely.
Rawstead is one of the best players we have in this league, hands down.
Yeah.
But that was where it was all going to be. Can Noah's aggression and play prove that he is as good as Rawstead, or is Rawstead going to prove it once again his best? And you think, oh, there's going to be loads of pressure there. The bot lane is going to be where it's happening. But now for Tap, they have to go top. Otherwise, they're going to have Artemis, who's going to be a problem. And when Nasus gets to late game, he's going to be a big threat that won't really die.
Mm.
And then when you've got a Vayne, you've got to consider worrying about as well. And a Cassin, you've got to consider worrying about as well. I don't see... Tap needs to get this game done, or they need to get very far ahead. Because otherwise, they're just going to get rolled over in the late game, I fear. But if the Xin Zhao can be aggressive from the get-go, get top going, and get to a position where Maokai can maybe cause pressure onto the Nasus, then maybe they've got a shot of snowballing this game out of control. And then when you've got Noah, all bets are off in the bot lane. He can just go off, and on Tristana, he can go off and completely get one. But we are in this game, ladies and gentlemen. After my little rant, I just see a tank rant. That's what it is. I just love tanks so much.
Who doesn't, mate?
Well, most top laners from what I hear.
Yikes.
It's just a sad time. It is going to be Tap on the blue side versus LGM on the red side. It's going to be a little bit of an invade early from Tap, but I don't see too much action going on in the jungle this early.
Well, hang on.
Hang on. Paka has taken W. He's going to be looking to engage. Boston has been caught out, and he is going to go down. I'm a little bit far behind, so I saw that a couple of seconds after.
Scroll that one up, dude.
Pineapple grabbing the first blood. And we said they need to do something aggressive early, and the Xin Zhao has done just that.
Yeah, you were talking about how there needs to be a lot of respect in that top lane. There definitely was not a lot of respect in that bottom lane. Not really any kind of significant cover. And then Rawstead just not using any of his summoners when he sees the Maokai coming to him. Didn't even have to flash for it. And then Paka can just get that W, and there's no way he can get away because the miasma locks him right up. So there's literally no risk to Team Alpha from doing that because they know they have a strong combo, and if it doesn't work, they can walk away. But they get a free first blood onto their early game jungler that they are going to be absolutely taken to the bank. And FancyLol did lose his cleanse somehow. I'm not really sure how he needed to use it at any point, but I mean, we'll still trade that one. You know, we'll take a first blood for a cleanse on a Tahm Kench. And in this bot lane, it could be a problem in the very early levels if he doesn't have cleanse. And there's another gank happening, actually.
There's another gank happening. James is going to be chasing on to DS, followed by Penny's Pineapple. Penny's Pineapple is looking to make it get all done. He's going to flash. He's going to be flashed after. He's going to go down. We're moving straight to the bot lane. More action is happening as Ross is going to heal aggressively to try to get FancyLol. FancyLol's going low. The Ignite is progging, but he might not go down. FancyLol's going to flash into him to grab another kill. It's all action all over the map. Ross is going to go very low, and it's going to be just end it / Noah getting the kill. Suchin and Noah are going to battle it out, just end it. It's looking to end it. He's going to flash forward. Suchin is going to look to the fight. He's going to get hurt. He's got a little bit of grey up, but it's not going to be enough. Double kill goes over to just end it. It's 4-1 now. Tap are on a landslide, and the only person getting a kill there over on the side of LGM was Rawstead.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's just rewind a little bit. Let's take a second, and hopefully the teams will allow me to take a second as well, because goddamn. So, Penny's Pineapple takes that first blood, doesn't even... He goes back, he's got his boots already, comes straight up, comes to this mid lane to get this Kassadin ganked up while he's got no ult, he's got no way to get out, he only has the flash, and then he gets zoned out very well, chased down across north of the lane by James, and then chased over the flash over the wall. Elise couldn't do anything about it, and they just walk away, gets another kill for Pineapple. He is super rolling right now, and James is perfectly happy to just sit back and watch. He's not under pressure to do anything at this point, but that is so good, and Pineapple's gone up for top lane as well.
We're going for more, but he's not actually going to be able to do too much. The Nasus was very pushed in.
Yeah. Okay, so if we just come back to this bot lane now, let's go back to the bot lane. So I said that he didn't have the cleanse, and that could cause a problem, and it looks like it was going to, because Pyke managed to get that engage, and he got Tahm so very low, but it wasn't quite enough, and then Rawstead wanted the kill so badly, he pops all his summoners to dive under the tower, ends up giving 2 kills away at the end of the fight to Noah when Sojin can't get away. So now the lane is even less in his favor, and I was about to say before the whole fight happened that the bot lane on the side of Alpha doesn't have that many ways to get ahead, because Tahm can't really be aggressive onto Pyke. There's just no way he can actually land hits and lock him down. So it's all on the bot lane for LGM to make engages happen, that they can pick their favorable fights. And ended up picking one, ended up picking a terrible fight, and now the bot lane for Team Alpha has the advantage that they had no right having. So this is exactly what Alpha wanted. They were gifted this lead by LGM, and I think it is maybe just a lack of respect in general across the board so far.
Yeah, lack of respect, maybe. Sujin is going to look for another engage as we see Suyu coming in. It's going to be Fancy Law being hooked back. TP is coming back, but at least he's already going to grab the kill. Sujin actually going to be the one grabbing the kill, killing onto Fantasy. That is an extra kill over onto LGM. Very nice play there, but they did use a few resources over there. It wasn't actually them who used the resources. It was actually Team Alpha who used the teleport packer, leaving Nasus top to get some stacks up there. And we're going to see a pause coming down here. So I think the players they need a minute as well. I think we need a minute, they need a minute. I think everyone just needs a little bit of time to calm down and relax, because it's all been quite mad in the first few minutes. And if Team Alpha wanted to get themselves rolling quickly in this game, they've certainly done that, but it hasn't been perfect. And I think that fight bot kind of just showed that there's still some communication or decision-making errors in this team.
Yeah, I think that we saw Zuzu, who's clearing out the bottom side jungle, invading, just doing that one nice and slowly. Then he comes in from a very nice pathing in behind the bot lane for Alpha, who were pushed up, and then in the 3v2 they just can't get out of it. Tahm Kench doesn't have his summoners up yet, so he just goes down very clean and easy. That's fair enough. The TP comes in from Pack was actually very good, but then as soon as he flashes in, he gets insta-condemned by the Vayne. If he hadn't gotten condemned like that, he would have been able to W onto Zuzu, and then I believe that Noah would have been able to clear that one up, getting him another kill, which would have been even more huge for him, because it was Sojin that picked up the kill on Tahm Kench. So that was very close, very well played by Roasted, getting themselves out of that situation, and they do end up getting a little bit more money in their pocket. They are keeping up in CS. Every lane is relatively even. Packer was a little ahead, meaning that he has that freedom to go down into the bottom lane to use that TP. Sadly, it didn't work out for him. But Artemis, as you said, is going to get some free farm in this top lane. It's exactly what he wants, and we'll have to see now what Piney's Pineapple can do once he goes back and buys, because he already has a 450 gold bounty on him. The guy is rolling in it comparatively at this stage, and he's going to go back. He's going to get a lot of impressive damage, and I want to see him take it either back into this mid lane, summoners are still down there, or into this top lane to really, as you said, stop Artemis being allowed to free farm for too long, because I think the bottom lane actually is doing relatively well for Team Alpha, and they do have a very strong scaling ADC in Tristana. This is a character that can actually match the kind of late game damage that Vayne is putting out, and with the money that she already has, they actually can take the 2v2 without too much threat, I think, against Lao Gan Ma.
Sorry for the pause, ladies and gentlemen. We have a keyboard issue over on the side of LGM. I've also been informed by production that the jungler for LGM, it's actually meant to be pronounced Chewy.
Huh.
I don't know. There are none of those letters.
Yeah, that's just not
they
even.
They do not
slightly...
share a letter. That word is Suyu, right?
I mean, if his other account's called Chewy, then sure, but I don't know if he can't spell or if we can't spell, but somebody can't spell here.
Someone has done something wrong here. Apparently, it's Korean, maybe.
I mean, that's fair enough. I don't speak Korean. Maybe it is. Or we might just be getting horrifically baited. Who knows? I'm just gonna say Elise.
Is production baiting us right now? Is that what's happening?
I wouldn't put it past them, dude.
I don't think I trust them. But I'm also concerned about LGM's mid laner. How am I meant to pronounce that?
I mean,
that's not a word. There are no vowels there.
Let's call them just some,
in a team fight. It's gonna be some coming in.
Yeah.
Triple my words is enough as it is. I don't need that. I'm just gonna call him DS, you know.
He's actually gotten so mad about that, he's actually disconnected from the game. So apologies, DSMF, RFN. We didn't mean it. Please come back.
We love you, really. I feel like we're a bit deep on LGM. I don't know what it is. I'm not deep on any other team, but I see LGM and my eyes I just see red.
I know, it's the same. I always go in hard against LGM, honestly, ever since they lost that game to Free Krogs. I can't. They need to be taken down a peg. They're at the top of the standings. They know they're good. We all deep in our hearts know they're good. It doesn't hurt to keep the egos a little deflated, you know? I mean, they do have Artemis on that team.
Yeah, you have to watch out for Artemis. He can be a bit Artemis-y.
Slightly, somewhat.
Only a little bit, though. Only a little. We love you, really. We're still just waiting for this keyboard issue to be resolved and for DS to get back into game. But see, I'm going to ask you a quick question. Where do you think the next big action's going to take place?
Well, I'll tell you where I think it should take place. I think it should take place mid, and I want to see it take place mid, Because I think Peony's Pineapple, he's going to finish up his farming that he's doing. He's going to go back, he's going to buy, and I think he should come into this mid lane. Because if you look at the warding on the map right now, there are a grand total of something like maximum of one if there's one underneath Sojin right now. But there ain't no wards for the side of Lao Gan Ma right now. So there's nothing that can really stop him going where he wants. And I think that he would absolutely beat Chewy in a fight in the jungle. So if he actually has the freedom to go wherever he wants and do whatever he wants. And I think that going mid lane would be the best use of his time. There's still over a level down for Caston before he gets this ult, and it makes him very hard to gank. And then James having this miasma, it's so easy to land it on the Caston if he tries to come in for a minion because he's melee range. If he's not using his Q, he has to come into melee range, or at least very close to it to use the E to finish off CS. He's either going to run himself out of mana or he's going to get hit by that miasma, and then Pineys can come straight in and finish that one off with the damage that he has. So I'd like to see it come in. I think that's where it's going to happen. I think the top lane is actually going to stagnate for a little bit, though I would like to see Pineys forcing that one there. We'll have to see what Chewy chooses to do with his time. Because does he commit to this bot lane and try and get them rolling even more? We've seen that they can win a 3v2. We've seen they can do that. Is it worth forcing that, or is it worth going to his solo lanes who are definitely in losing matchups at this point and try and get them back in the game, or does he just hope and commit to the scaling? Because both of these champions, Cassidy and Nasus, they will reach this late game eventually. At some point, you're just going to win the game with these champions on your team, but it has to be before the enemy team wins the game. So we'll have to see if he wants to try and defend his losing lanes or really try and push on this bottom lane to get them ahead. It's definitely a good idea. Rosted's an amazing AD carry. He's playing Vayne. He can do that 1v5 performance. We'll have to see what he chooses to prioritize.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where they decide to get ready. And we are going into game, but very quickly, I'm going to watch a video how to pronounce this word, because I want to know so that I'm not going to get flamed by chat.
That is efficient use of this pause timing, honestly. Tabbing out to
it's
learn
pronounced
more.
like Tui.
Right.
Which that can't be right in any way, can it? Like, that's not what anyone said.
Well, yeah, I'm just... Tell you what, let's just use whatever comes into our head at the time, and then hopefully we will not offend this man. We don't mean it. We're just poor Western plebs who can't speak our languages.
Humble Western casters.
Yeah.
Call him Elise, I'm being told. Well, that's the worst pronunciation of that word.
Yeah. At least there's no E in that word. What are you? These guys are crazy, man.
Yeah, production team is absolutely troll. We are back into the game, ladies and gentlemen. We are 5 minutes into this one. It's 4-2 over on the side of Team Alpha. They've grown themselves a little bit of a gold lead, but the last play we did see was in the bot lane, which was LGM picking up a kill. Very quickly, before we go any further, before any more action happens, I knew Sujin was going to miss it. I messaged him earlier, can you miss that so I can actually talk about something else? Actually, to take the fight. We're going to get another pause. I can make my point now. James, we haven't talked about him very much.
Yes.
He's a Cassiopeia player. Like that. This is his main champion. What do you think about Cassiopeia, CJ?
I think Cassiopeia is a good champion, Viper. I think it's good. I think James is good. I think that he is often a player where he doesn't seem to be the focal point of the team up until the point where he won the game and you didn't even realize that he won you the game. He's definitely a very strong player, and he does have 2 assists. He's been supporting Pine's Pineapple very well. He's got that blasting rod with a corrupting potion. He's definitely looking to make some pressure in this lane. He's proved that he can do it so far. So I think that he is going to go pretty uncontested, honestly. I think that they're very good, Team Alpha in general, at placing vision. And I think that it's quite easy to grasp here that you need to have vision around this Cassiopeia to protect him from the Cassiopeia, from the Cassidon and Elise, because I was talking how much pressure Pine's Pineapple can have on the Cassidon before 6, but after 6, 100% it flips in the favor of Cassidon when he has that Elise backup, because they both have very good damage. They've both got a lot of mobility to get themselves into the lane and on top of you. With that point-and-click stun, that skill shot stun from Elise to secure that one with the electrocute on her as well. So he does have to be afraid of that, but it's pretty easy to counter that kind of play if you just ward properly. And I think that they will be able to do that. And him getting to that late game could be the deciding factor in terms of how these team fights roll out, because the miasma is just such a powerful tool in general against things like, mobility-based champions like Cassidon, like Vayne, and then even something like a Nasus, who, if he gets that infinite scaling level, he's level 18, he's got 1,000 stacks, he's one-shotting anybody with his Q, He comes in, and then he just kind of runs onto a miasma, and the rest of Team Alpha just say, all right, see you, mate, and they just walk away. And then the boy's got nothing to do. The dog is left in his lane alone with no friends. So this is going to be quite important how James uses that miasma in late game fights, because there's a lot of people that he kind of needs to hit with it. It's a very big ability. You can catch multiple people in it for sure. But when they're all running in different directions and flashing over walls and jumping around and turning invisible, I think that that's the kind of thing that could sway a team fight in a really kind of micro way that isn't particularly obvious, just because of like who gets locked up, who gets let go, who's doing the damage, and who it's important to lock up. I think that James does have that pressure on his shoulders, but I know that he's a good player, and like you say, he's a Cassiopeia player. He knows his way around this champion. I think we'll be able to see him make the right decision.
You've got to hope so. We're just still waiting on this keyboard issue to be resolved, or for them to decide they want to play for it. They've tried to fix, so hopefully that'll be resolved. We don't like seeing keyboards being broken around here. This isn't Tyler 1's stream.
Exactly.
I actually not Tyler really breaks keyboards.
We're incredibly professional here. We're all good vibes, positive mental attitude.
Positive attitude only beyond this point.
Exactly.
I'm reading Twitch chat. Welcome to a new segment I like to call Viper and CJ read Twitch chat. CJ, people are asking. We have a call from a young man or woman. I don't know gender because it doesn't say on Twitch. Asking about the cleanse on Tahm Kench. Why do you think Tahm Kench has gone cleanse?
Well, I guess he's taken it to avoid the pike, because the pike does have the stun to come over, and actually a hook's gone over. You might get hit by the stun.
Hook's gone and he's going relatively low, but I don't think there's going to be enough desire or damage there to get the kill off on that.
Is going to walk away. It's the only thing that I think the cleanse isn't the best choice here. I think something like an exhaust would be way better when you have a Kassadin potentially coming in and a Vayne, where it's very hard to land your Q to start locking that Vayne up. You can dodge in and out, but you can just point on her with your mouse and click exhaust, and that is a huge amount of value you get from doing that. So I think that might have been a better pick. I think the cleanse might have a miasma coming in. There's no ult. Penis Pineapple has come to mid, as I said, but
he's going to do a little bit of damage, but he's not going to do very much at all. Again, there's damage coming through, but I'm hesitant to jump on the team fight speed talking section, because I don't think that we're going to see a kill unless it's a big fight or something very obvious in terms of engaging when someone's far pushed.
Yeah, Piney's Pineapple did do what I expected to do. He came to that mid lane to try and exploit the Kassadin, but sat far back and here's an engage.
He's just looking for a hook. He will link onto Fancy Law. We see Chewy there on the side. Fancy Law is going to eat up Noah and try and get away. Heal's coming in to try and keep Fancy Law alive, and the shield is popped, so there's going to be no kills over there. But Team Alpha are going to have to use a couple of... Oh, goodness me. They're going to have to use a couple of pauses, because
goodness,
this is not a good one. The game has been unpaused again. So that's not brilliant. I don't know what's going on with that. I think it's still more keyboard problems, but we're just going to see a fight coming down bot as Penny's Pineapple is going to turn up. Rawsted and Sujin are overextended. I don't know how they're going to be able to survive this. Or is he flashes? Also going to go very low. That explosive is probably going to kill him with the red buff burning onto him. It is just ended. Is on a killing spree now, grabbing his third of the game and is looking for more. But Chewy is there and is looking to put the hurt down from the spider onto James just grabs a kill mid. No idea how that happened. We have to go to actually ripping up top as Steve grabs another kill. Fancy Law is going to go down. And when I say another, that is his first one of the game. But now Penny's Pineapple is there. He's going to kill the spider. Dead to you. I hate spiders. Just ended on a rampage. 4 kills now for the Tristana. And Noah is going to absolutely start dominating this game if he's allowed to go any further.
That was a very extended battle, and it definitely went so far in the favor of Team Alpha that Noah is 4-0-1. Pineapple is 3-0-2. These guys are absolutely rolling right now. Very long fight there. We saw Sojin try to engage, but he went in with the E first to get in range, so no stun landed on Tahm Kench. Followed up with the Q hook. He did land it, but it just wasn't enough because Fantasy Law moved down, didn't get hit by that stun, did have cleanse anyway, just in case, so he wasn't in danger if he did. Then manages to eat up their stun and get them out of range. They walk away from that one very well played by them, and then Pineapple comes down to turn this fight around. They jump onto Rawsted, who to his credit does get another almost picture-perfect condemn. The explosive shot's already on him, he goes down, and then they can just clean this one up because Chewy's really wants to finish this kill off, and he's just trying to commit, trying to get them down because the Tristana and the Tahm Kench are so low, can't finish them off. Excellent uses of the Devour both times by Fantasy in that extended fight, it must be said. I was worried about him not being able to have an impact when he doesn't have a playmaking champion, but he is keeping Noah alive very well as Elise comes to look for a gank. That's going to be on a ward, never mind. And then meanwhile, in the mid lane, Cassiopeia just killed Kassadin. Just killed him. We didn't see it, but I imagine it was pre-6, and that is that James Cassiopeia play coming in, and that's definitely going to put him very much where he wants to be. If you look at the CS difference, James is on 36 CS and 0-2-0 and is currently sitting motionless in base, so that does not look good for the side of LGM. I believe they have used all of their pause timer up. I believe both teams get 10 minutes before they have to forfeit. So once you've used 10 minutes of pause, you just kind of have to let it play out, otherwise you forfeit automatically. We might unfortunately be seeing a bit of a 4v5 coming in here. If they can't resolve any of the issues, we will have to see how that develops, as a fight is going on in top lane.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how this resolves. It's kind of an unfortunate situation for LGM. And it's actually unfortunate for both teams, really, because if it continues as is, Tap will get the win in a 4v5. Tap are very far ahead as is. But I think the joke's going to be Sujin actually going to jump in and try and get killed to try and stop that. Cassius is going to miss her ultimate. There's going to be nothing that she can do. James is going to go down to you, Chewy, Elise, whatever you want to call them. Grabs that kill. Blue tower is going to get... Blue team is going to get first tower. Oh my goodness, my mouth is just all over the place at the moment. And they're going to be maybe looking towards this dragon now with things span up on that bot side. Kills traded over there, but still, it's a 4v5 at the moment. And I think the joke is going to become, well, you didn't actually beat LGM, you beat 4-man LGM, which is a massive disservice to Tap, because they've looked really, really dominant in this game, even when there were 5 players over the side of LGM.
It's very true, and I think we just saw James get caught out by the fact that he believes his lane opponent is AFK in base, so he just brain dead shoves up and trying to get that tower as soon as possible. Is well punished by Sojin and Elise. They did come in to cancel that one. They got the summoner spell, they got flashed out, and then as you said, the ult fortunately whiffs from Cassiopeia. They lock down with the chain CC and clean that one up very nicely, so they get something back for themselves. I think that this is like a team comp with champions in it, where if it was a 4v5 and you're ahead at this point, it's actually still winnable, because champions like Vayne and Nasus, they can just have such a big impact late game. But when they're already so far behind, and Noah he's already got that bottom lane tower, so Swordchip's going to finish this mid one off as well. James is now content to just go and farm in this bot lane. He's got the strength to match up against Rorsted, who hasn't completed the Blade of the Ruin King yet. There's just nothing that LGM really can do. They don't have the pressure on the map, they don't have enough eyes everywhere, and I think that this should be easy to finish up.
Artemis is going to be engaged up, but he's Pineapple and Fancy Lol are there. Artemis is going to have to use his ultimate to try and get away. He's going to be looking to get some health lifesteal off that, but he's going to be going below. There's so many members of Tap there. He's going to die. It's going to be just end it, picking up another point. I can hear the LGM fans shouting just end it right now anyway, because it's absolutely a slaughter for them going forward. We're going to see Sujin taking quite low. Suyu is going to be chased.
Oh, hold up.
Out, but he's Pineapple. He's not going to get his cut though, as Noah jumps in and grabs another kill. Now Sujin is on the wrong end of history. Double kill over to just end it. And this is an absolute slaughter. Rorsted is going up to try and defend this, but I can just see him getting dove if he's not careful. He's going to be rolling away from that tongue, trying to keep himself nice and healthy, nice and unslowed, and nice and alive.
Yeah, as we said earlier, it's a man advantage. They've got too many people. Fantasy did manage to make an engage happen with that ultimate ults in, but it's a bit too close to the tower. They can't really finish anything off. But yeah, they've got 4 members there, and there's only 2 to counter it. They can just dive down. They didn't manage to get a Devour onto Nasus, would have made it easier to pull him out, but they can use that Maokai ult from a very safe distance to lock him down again. And Elise just doesn't have enough to do. Does finish off the Xin though, and James may be caught out again.
James might be in trouble. There are 3 members of Lao Gan Ma there. Sujin is going to land the hook. The stun did land, but it wasn't enough. Artemis is going to be picking up that kill. Get those stacks, son. Get yourself rolling and get yourself back into the game.
I believe, I just need to jump back actually, because I believe Sojin might have actually spot dodged with the turnaround. Yeah, he doesn't actually get hit, so Sojin kind of juking back and forth to try and avoid that stun. I think James actually did angle it in the favor of Tsuyu actually, so wasn't aiming for Pyke. But yeah, he just pushes up into that lane, 1 versus 3, gets caught again with no vision. James definitely going pretty slack right now. He's kind of placed his brain into the off position, which is not what you want to see when you're against teams full of late game carries and a player as proactive as Sojin, who was able to punish you for these kind of errors. Noah is really the one that needs to keep his cool though. He is the one with 7 of the 11 kills, 1,000 gold bounty. He's the Tristana, he is the carry of this team right now. And if he can keep his cool, if he doesn't, Noah it a little bit, he will be fine, and he will be able to just push you damage in these fights, as the macro game is so heavily in the favor of Team Alpha and how easy it is them to do anything. They can just rotate to a lane and abuse a man advantage to get it shoved down with the CC, the late game, relatively long range damage as the game goes on with the Cassiopeia and Tristana. So let's see how this possible fight plays out.
Fight here. Fancy Lol is going to have to flash away to avoid that hook. Looks for a Tom back for a slow, but he doesn't need to because the rest of LGM are not going to follow up. 4 members of LGM now, they're looking to group and try and maybe get a bit of a fight going down because they think maybe we can still win fights. We're going to see the Rift Herald fall into Packer there. He's going to be using it there as the conversation that DS has now left the game, trying to get another solution. Hopefully, Artemis going to move to the top lane to try and defend his outer tower, the last outer tower that still stands from Rift Herald and from Packer. He can get the Rift Herald down, but Packer is going to grab that one. That is the third tower going over onto the side of Team Alpha. And I'm going to get a little bit of a lag before Packer and Artemis go against each other. It's not a super exciting fight, though.
Oh, here comes Tom.
But here we go. Tom Kench is going to come in with Penny's pineapple. Now it's a little bit more exciting. Yelp's going to come through, but it's nowhere near enough. Artemis is going to fall. Fancy Law's going to pick up that one for himself. Tom Kench needs a little bit of love as well, so he's going to grab himself as well. And Artemis can't be extended that far, even though he's defending.
Oh, nice stun.
On the tower. There's like a coup. He's going to be the one who wants to have Glenn. Sujin's going to try and grab that one, but no, he's going to return the kill 1-for-1, and it's going to chase away Chewy because he doesn't want to get involved in that. He doesn't want to be the double kill that we've seen Noah get so many already. And he is 8-0-1 now on this Tristana as Packer and Penny's final will look to put pressure top, but the Malphite doesn't have mana.
Honestly, I have to give credit to Chewy and Sojin here. They have been working with what they have, and they are finding openings, and they're catching James out time and again. Beautiful hook into tower range, followed up by an Elise stun, means they get that shutdown on him. Pyke obviously able to share that gold around with the Elise too. So that was actually really nicely done when they're going up against two very strong carries at this point. Maybe an accidental flash there by Chewy, that's a bit of a yikes, but back onto the pause. I think they have been given authorization by our admin team to potentially find a solution, just so that the game isn't quite as arbitrarily lame as it is with a 4v5 in this way. Honestly, I know we put LGM on blast a lot. That's just, we do that a lot, but I have to kind of put Tap on blast for the way they use the Rift Herald this game. When they're in a 5v4 and they have Rift Herald, and they end up just kind of using it with Packer, the weakest tower pusher on the team besides Fantasy, in a one-man lane, and they don't even finish that tower off with the Herald. He has to finish it off himself. That was such a waste when they could just use it later after they could just go to that lane as a group, push it down, and then if they have a similar situation like that, they can use the Tom Ken shell, which Fantasy did do after the tower had gone down. They came in and they killed Artemis. That would be a perfect time if you had a Rift Herald to drop it in that lane. Then you can get another tower, and you can probably get it onto the inhib tower and potentially take that one down as well, considering Tristana is such a strong lane pusher. So I think that was just a bit of a waste, and it seems like Tap they're getting a bit lazy. They're not using the macro skills that I know that they have and that we've seen them have, because I think they just think it's a free win. And I hope that they might have to sort themselves out and get their heads back in the game if we have a pause to find a solution for Kassadin to come back in, because Kassadin, he's very far behind, yes, but if they can hold their base, and if they can hold that base, he is going to have a bit of catch-up experience, I believe. Like, he's going to get those levels at least back up very quickly, and if he can get to that stage where he gets 2 items completed, he is still going to be able to do a huge amount of burst damage and come in and out depending on how well DSM RFN is playing. So they need to focus up a little bit from Alpha here, and they need to get back in the game and try and finish one out as quickly as possible, because the late game carries are definitely present on the side of LGM. Don't get me wrong, Alpha have their own, but I want to see them get a bit more considered in what they're doing, a little bit tighter, you know? Yeah,
just tighten up a little bit, because we said like Team Alpha was so dominant against LGM at the beginning of the game. When it was 5v5, Team Alpha were dominating.
Yeah, they were playing much better, honestly, when it was 5v5.
4v5, Team Alpha have let it slip. And I think if someone watches back this game and they see Team Alpha playing as they are, then they are going to start making the argument, well, you wouldn't beat an LGM if your mid-game is this sloppy. If you're sending Maokai solo top to use Rift Tower to get a tower, and not even really get the tower. You do get the tower and you do get the kill, but it could have done so much more work. And I think if you watch this game back and you see this kind of stuff, you're thinking, oh, well, Team Alpha got lazy because they were 45 and they knew they were going to win. But James has been overextended constantly. Since we started praising him for his good play early and how good he is on Cassiopeia, he's just been hard shoving whatever lane he's in and then getting caught out when 2 or 3 members of LGM come in. Because it doesn't matter if you're in a 4v5 if you're 1v3.
It's true.
Just
the maths checks out on that one.
Yeah, we're going to have to get the production team to run the numbers. If you guys can get on that, that'd be great. But it's just, they need to tighten up, because right now, the score is, there's a lot of gold lead over on Tap, but the score is 13-7. The kill lead was much higher when it was a 5v5. And that's not even saying too much. DSM at RFN was playing with a broken keyboard, apparently. So he's 0-2-0. But that doesn't account for the massive swing that we've seen a little bit recently. Of course, Tap are still winning because they've got 5 members. Their macro play, as long as it's competent, they should win this game.
Yeah,
if they
it's
lose
not
45,
been terrible. It's just not been as good as it could be, for sure. It's not been as good as I know that they have played. It's not been awful. They're not losing things. They're not giving up towers for no reason. The only person who's really been hemorrhaging a little bit is James, but everyone else has at least been getting, neutral or slight value for everything they're doing.
Okay, we've got the maths checking out. If my maths is good, it should be advantageous for the free in a 1v3. There you go.
That's how I think it
check.
If you take 5 versus 4, and then you take 3 versus 1, and then you balance the equation, I think the answer you get is James equals platinum.
Oh goodness.
So,
yikes.
So,
I'm gonna get a man like that.
like I say, we're coming at LGM all day. We're just ruthlessly hating on these people, so we've got to balance that one out as well,
Yeah. I hate Police Pineapple. There we go. We balanced it. I don't actually hate him. I haven't.
Oh, that was showing.
I don't know him.
I love Piney's Pineapple, honestly. He's been playing super good this game. I can barely find a fault with anything Piney's Pineapple's been doing. He has been just creating pressure the whole time. Even took that first blood gold that he was thankfully gifted by Roasted, and then he has ran with it, and actually he was probably, the main reason that Alpha were able to extend the lead as far as they were when it was still a 5v5. So I think that he definitely deserves praise whatever the outcome here, as long as he doesn't flip-flop. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another way to put it.
Looking for in nicer words.
That is actually it.
But hard hit.
Yeah, so I have faith in that he will not do this, and like I said, I just want to make sure that he gets the credit that he has been given. Paka has been trying to make plays across the map. He has been in that top lane, but I mean, he didn't manage to extend a CS lead, but he has been making cross-map plays, and as we said, it's basically just a farm off. There's not really that much pressure he can put on to Artemis, who has been dealing with some ganks and some pressure from the Tom Kench, from Piney's Pineapple, and the rotations up there we saw. So he's been doing a decent job. Paka he's definitely not been doing a bad job. He hasn't been able to have quite the impact as usual, but that is mostly down to Roasted's very strong condemns. Really well timed on those ones, and he's trying his best, Roasted, but I think they were just a little bit too eager, a little bit stressed, a little bit desperate in that bot lane, as they were happy to trade their own lives for kills, and if the lanes were even and if the game was even, that would be fine when you have an aggressive lane that can takes more gold and then converts that into more kills. But when the rest of it is going so badly, I think at some point you have to just try and sit back, let Sojin roam around, which he has been doing now, and just try not to give up any more gold to this Tristana, who has sadly reached a monstrous capacity.
I think you're gonna have to just turn up. Right? You have to somewhat be proactive, because if you just sit in your base and let them push in, you're gonna be at such disadvantage if the casting comes back, and that is still an if. That's not a guarantee. It's the age-old question of how do you win a 4v5? Because if the other team is similar level to you, there's macro on the map. It gets easier to defend as you get pushed in because of the way that League of Legends works. But it looks like Team Alpha are just going to look mid. Sujin is on the back though. He might look for an engage, but he's decided against it. It would be a 4v3 if he goes in now.
Going in.
The Sujin is going very, very low. And that is a big lumpy tree. Just end it, jumping forward, trying to get the first kill. He will get the first kill. Artemis is now in the middle of all 5 of them. He's not going to be able to get out there. He's going to be blown over the wall. Pack is going to jump over to steal the kill away from Noah. No double kill from you this fight. And now we're going to see Chewy going in. He's going to look jumping. It looks like LGM is going in 1 by 1 now. Just end it. Is legendary. The animals don't go in 2 by 2 this
That's
game.
a surrender.
Going in 1 by 1. There's the surrender, unfortunately. So LGM will lose this one at the 17-minute mark. So actually, if we're going back to Korean reject scale, Korean rejects survive longer than LGM did. So 4 members of LGM are worse than Korean rejects.
That's going in the books. That's another very interesting equation we have there. 5 members of Korean rejects is greater than 4 members of LGM. We're gonna have to have a whole sort of develop a mathematical framework to explain SQ1 by the end of this season, and it's a massive shame, honestly, that the game had to end in this way. This was a game that could have been so exciting. I don't want to take anything away from Tap. They were looking very much in control of it. before the troubles began. And I don't think that it would be fair to literally say, oh, you never beat LGM fair and square. I think they deserve a lot of credit for how they played today, and I think given that what we know of them and their considered macro style and the way they just kind of get an advantage and then play into team fights and then win through the advantages they've built for themselves, I think that they were in an amazing position. And it was like, to me, it was like a 90% chance they were going to win the game at that point. Um, so we have to keep that in mind, though obviously it's a damn shame for LGM. They are going to go to 8-3, and Alpha are going to move up to 8-3 as well. They're going to match them in the standings. So Alpha are going to join the cohort at the top of this league. Very strong position for them going into the second half of the split. And yeah, I think that if we were to talk about an MVP maybe on such a kind of weird game, I don't know who you would think about for that one, Viper.
I'm looking at the damage chart. I think there are two real candidates if we're looking at this. We're looking at Just End It / No and Please Pineapple. I think it's very easy just to look at Just End It's score and go, mad 10-02 Tristana, obviously MVP, right? Dishing out so much more damage than everyone else. And it's not even that the Tristana got ahead because of a camp or because of face rolling from the other team. The Tristana was winning lane from level 2. The double kill on the Tristana early. Obviously, it was over aggression, maybe a bit of disrespect from Rawstead and Sujin to give the double kill over. But then taking out gold lead and going, okay, right, we've won this lane, now this is fine. And pushing it forward. But Panise Pineapple early game, grabbing that first blood on the Vayne, going immediately mid, grabbing a second kill. Going around being this aggressive Xin player, doing a lot of work, creating pressure, ganking, and really getting the Team Alpha team going. I think you've got to give a lot of praise to that. I would probably give it to Just End It, just because of the sheer amount of damage that this Tristana was dishing out. But I can see there's an argument to be made for Pineapple as well.
Yeah, I think that I would actually give it just by a hair to Just End It this game, because I think that Pineapple, he did amazing with the lead that he was given. But like I said, he was given that lead. Like when you invade 5v1 and the Vayne doesn't flash away and you just get them for free, like it's not hard to earn that one. And then he took that advantage and he snowballed it very well. But I think Just End It in a bot lane that was so scrappy with so many fights with TPs and ganks, etc., he was not getting caught out ever. He was never the one being hit by these cocoons. Even right at the end of those last fights just before the surrender, he's still juking out and not getting hit by stuns. Doesn't really matter at that point, but like he's still playing well. He never let his guard down. He was always on top of it, taking the fights. He knew when he could win these fights against his bot lane opponents, maybe after like a scrappy fight where he and Sojin are just left. He's always happy to go in. He's confident you can win that one, and he was able to do it. Converted so much damage. Him and Fantasy were roaming all over the map, taking towers, ganking lanes. I think that Just End It actually played exceptionally well today, and I think I would give it to him just by hair. Also because we tend to just discount Noah quite a lot from MPV votes, just because there's usually one big misplay, or we think like, oh, he's just kind of getting focused on by his team, or his jungler's always focusing his lane or whatever. But I think that Noah had a legitimately great performance this game.
I think he did. And it's going to be interesting to see how Team Alpha can move forward. Because we do talk about Team Alpha as being this kind of like, you don't see them as a top of the table team, really. Like you see, oh, they've got a couple of bye wins and they only really beat teams that are low down the rankings and all of this. But they're up there. So you've got to start looking at this team and thinking, okay, maybe playoff contention that's like a very real.
I think absolutely at this point.
A very real risk for Team Alpha, and you're looking at this league and thinking, okay, Team Alpha, they can make it into playoffs. They're like up there. I think you could say like, oh, they can actually win it, but if you look at the teams around them, you can question, you can debate that, but I think playoffs has to definitely be their target for this split, and I think they have to go into playoffs. If they go into playoffs against teams the way that they started this game, I don't see any reason they can't make a good deep run into playoffs.
Absolutely. If they play the way they played this game, I think they are an absolute dark horse contender for this league, because they could take. We've seen that LGM can take anybody down, and TAP were looking absolutely dominant against them here. So, yeah, I think that's absolutely real.
They've blown the league wide open. That is going to be it for our coverage of this first game today on this fine Tuesday evening. But don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be back, and hopefully we'll be back with a working keyboard, because next game we're going to see LGM playing once again as they go up against Glorious Gaming. That is a very, very hyped match. We'll have to see what LGM are going to be able to do, if they're going to be able to pull back from the disappointing series in this game. And of course, apologies for all of the technical issues and stuff. But hopefully you enjoyed the ride with us. So for me and CJ, that's going to be it. But make sure you do not go anywhere, because we will be back in a couple of minutes.
See you guys.
Lao Gan Ma is so strong that I can basically play anything to fit what my team needs and we'll still win.
He's traded once again. No, 2 kills to 1 traded. LGM once again coming out on top. That 6 kills to the advantage. That is almost a 5k goal. The 4.5 go forward. It's on the 4 to 2 Liz. It's just ultimate unstoppable force and top that his second kill.
Last Tuesday it was so easy that I might go jungle this time and force Vent on top to even things up.
Their bot lane has no impact, so we only need to shut down mid and jungle, since the rest is trash, especially our team. Next time I'm gonna show top lane can have impact.
The impact will be me taking your inhib through top in 15 minutes.
On the first game we got caught by the lane swap, this time we will be prepared.
Lao Gan Ma is stuck with talent, so we can play anything, so it's impossible to outdraft us because of how the flex picks.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to SQ1. We are here at week 6 or 5, I believe. Actually, I messed it up. Sorry, my bad. On day 1. And it is an exciting day we have ahead of us here today. We're sitting with probably the match of the week, Lao Gan Ma versus Glorious Gaming. I'm your play-by-play caster for today, Duckling, and with me I have the usual color caster, Blade.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's gonna be a fun game today.
We are going into this pretty insane game. We just saw that hype video, and damn, it made me hype. I think Lizard said, next game I'm actually gonna have a real impact, and then they cut to Artemis saying the impact will be me taking your inhib in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was sick.
That is that is one hell of a comeback. Very impressive.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
am looking forward to what we can see. Obviously, last time it was an interesting game to say the least. Sudin, he was his corgi was dirty to say the least.
Oh, I hope we see it again.
I really hope we see it again too. Obviously, would be sick if the corgi skin reveal today would be out, but sadly it won't be for the potential thing. But we just talked a bit about these flicks and how they play the game. You know, we talked about Sudin now have played a mid game. Last game he played support. If you didn't watch it on stream, he played Pike. They sadly lost, had some technical difficulties, which that led them to FF at 16 minutes. Obviously, unfortunate circumstances, but we'll move forward from that again and talk about the quick strength that Lao Gan Ma have of not just having flex picks, but flex players. They can flex Sudin to mid, to top, to support, and so can they do with Artie and even more. So we've seen a lot of flexibility from them, and it could be a huge strength.
Oh yeah, I just want to see these teams play. They are two of the best teams probably in the game, and it's unfortunate that the mid side actually from Lao Gan Ma got technical difficulties because the team comp that Lao Gan Ma had was fully scaled to the late game. They had something like the Nessus that if he can stack and you leave him alone on the side lane, you're gonna need maybe 2 or 3 people to at least kill him, and it doesn't mean that you don't kill in return. Then they had the Kassadin on the mid lane, and we all know how strong a late game Kassadin can be. If he just gets a few kills, if he gets that Rod of Ages and a few other items under his belt, he will just take over the whole game. And unfortunately, the mid laner from Lao Gan Ma, DS, didn't get much further than level 6 because he was just AFK from that point due to continuous technical difficulties. And the game seemed even hard then because that Tristana, even without that, was already 6-0, 7-0. So that's a hyper fat Tristana on a bot lane that you don't want it to. They took the Tom Gench to help the Tristana, which gave her even more security to just jump in and go ham and go away. And it's just unfortunate that they had the technical difficulties because there would still have been a few windows where they could have turned it around.
There could have been some potential windows. They obviously went for the 3 scaling picks. It was a brave one, but didn't quite work out. I have also been informed by one of the Lao Gan Ma players that he has been sent a video of DS pressing literally every button on his keyboard and nothing working. So those technical difficulties allowed them not to try and pull out the game as long as possible and potentially getting it back later. Obviously, look good from Tep, but the game overall, I think Lao Gan Ma would say is a fluke. It was a one-off game, obviously, and losing your mid lane at level 6 is never something you want to do for your chances.
Yeah,
But
for
obviously,
sure.
the early game before that didn't really go in that way, but then it just got way worse with the unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah, and as I said before, they could have won the game. We have seen the plays that Lao Gan Ma made, and a tournament was definitely not out of the question for a team of their capacity. We have seen multiple tournaments actually happen on the stream before, especially the one where I'm not sure who the teams were. It was last week, where one of the teams was very ahead in the early game, broke open the base, then got fully turned around because they weren't able to end it. And the only way that they could win at that point was to be able to have the backdoor into the Nexus to make sure that they were able to finish. And that's one, and we haven't seen more of those comebacks. We have seen games where the one team is thoroughly ahead, cannot close the game. The other person scales, or the other team is starting to scale more up to where they go to the mix that they wanted. They have built that team strategy to where they go to the late game, to the mid game, want to get stronger. Yes, of course, they will lose the early game, but because of that, they will go through the mid game and win the team fights later. And that's now something that we have to be careful of, especially because we know how in the first week that Lao Gan Ma pulled out that Vladimir. Vladimir is slowly starting to become more meta right now in the top and mid lane, and it's one of those champions that scales so hard in the mid to late game and will actually just bring so much damage in a team fight because of his ulti. You just need to follow up and continue on, and that's just going to be so scary, especially if you give it to Sujin, because that man is a monster on the Vladimir.
Sujin, he has shown a lot of flexibility in his pick, we must say. You know, he looked good on the Vladimir, he looked good on the Corgi, and he has also before looked good on the Pike, said in that last game.
Yep.
But it's insane what this man can play. He is a flexibility monster, and he has been showing that off so far. Obviously, after this last game, the standings are now looking such as GT being the only team in first place after they beat OG, I believe.
Yep.
They now move to 9-2, while Lao Gan Ma, after that unfortunate loss, tie up with TAP or TAP Team Alpha, whatever you want to call them, in the second place at 8-3. We are obviously halfway through the split, and this is going to be the first rematch that teams will have coming into it. And
I
it
mean,
is a banger to start off with.
If we look at the last game, what happened with the picks, there are some picks I definitely disagree with, especially because we knew that Tristana was going bot lane. Yes, Vayne is a good late game. However, Tristana will be able to break you if she has the pressure, and of course we saw that they had. And then you pick something like the Tom Kench, which is very good for the Tristana to work with because you can just go in, as I said before, and just scale very hard. But then they pick something like the Pike that wants to have those aggressive plays, and that's something you almost cannot do unless you have a lot of ganks or unless you have more of an aggressive playstyle, in which I think they should have maybe have gone for something like the Draven, that it fits so well with Pike, because if Pike just hooks you out with the Bone Skewer, Draven can just go ham on you, and even though if it is a Tom Kench, Draven will just continuously use the spinning axis to break it down. However, because Vayne is such a late game carry, she needs those items. She needs to get a little bit ahead. And I just don't think it worked in the team comp that they wanted. Also, if they would have taken the Draven, they had a beautiful aggressive team comp with the Elise as well in the jungle on their side, who, as we all know, is very good in the early game and a little bit in the mid game, because she can do so much damage even without any items. If she just hits that cocoon and Tom Kench is not there, or she hits Tom Kench with the cocoon and Tristana get bone skewered, this will just break their team comp and will be able to deliver so much. And I just don't see why they would do this team comp against the opponent.
Yeah, it is a bit of a question, but if we move on to the game we're going into now, I can inform you guys that Lao Gan Ma has lost their first 3 bans due to them not showing up on time. And if we go over their lineup and what they will be playing, it seems that the lineup will be Artemis in the top lane, Chewy in the jungle, Sujin in the mid lane, Rostad as ADC, and Johnny Cleaver as support.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just glad that they showed up, because I was actually scared that something might have gone wrong, because nobody was showing up at the 8 over minute mark, which normally means that either they don't go or something has gone wrong and they might not be able to connect, or maybe the client was bugging. However, they seem to be all here. So I just hope this will be the lineup, because it's actually a pretty cool lineup. Do you mind if I talk about the lineup from Lao Gan Ma?
We can definitely touch them both lineup. Just going on it. Now we actually know what the lineup is after these sadly
Yes.
technical difficulties.
So I love that Lao Gan Ma actually pulled in Sujin. So on the top lane they have Artemis. The jungle is 2. I heard everyone say differently, like Siyu and Tsuyu and whatever. I think it's just Tsuyu. They have Sojin in the mid, Ralston as the ADC, and John Cleaver as the support. And I can't wait for this because I love seeing Artemis and Sujin play. As same with Lizard and Perun. Like those two guys are just so fun to watch. And of course, we know how Flickership plays. I expect him to go something like the Pike, maybe something like the LSR. One of those champions can do an engage that can actually force a fight or force your opponent to react to something you wanted to do. And then just Perun, if we see that Corki, he even has the Corki picture for his profile, which I hope means that he's actually going to take the Corki, because whenever I see a Corki, I just get so hyped, because those games where you see that Corki get ahead are just so fun to watch.
Yeah, Corgi, when he gets ahead and just hits the 3 items, he's a machine. I played him last year in Ranked until the items got changed with ADC. Now they're back, and he's back in the meta as well. I would also like to maybe see Perun move towards a Zoe. I saw him play previously in the qualifiers, and damn, it was one enjoyable Zoe to watch as a spectator. It wasn't fun for the team they played against. I don't remember quite which team it was. It was a bit of time ago, but damn, that was a Zoe I would love to see again.
I mean, sometimes you just want to see those like G2 Week 1 games from the LEC where they just pick the most random champions. The team comp doesn't seem to make sense, and then you go into game and they just explode everyone. Like you cannot do anything before you get like killed. And those are the games that are so fun to watch. Yes, they might be one-sided, but I mean, if you had it on your team, you would be laughing out loud. And those are the games that I hope we can see again. Like when the Corki was fed a few weeks ago, that was just so amazing. When the Vladimir was chosen by Sujin and actually piloted to perfection on the top lane, that was amazing. And we will actually go into the game. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're getting into Champions League, boys. And bad news for the side of Lao Gan Ma. They have lost 3 bans due to them not meeting up in time, decided by the admin team. And going forward, we can at least look what GG bans in this first rotation. They started off banning the Sivir.
I mean, it's a good late game pick. I wonder why they are waiting so long to ban nothing, because there's actually a button in the ban menu which allows you to ban nothing. But they might not know that. Yes, there is. If you go into customs, there is one that will allow you to not ban anything. And the Sivir is, of course, as I said before, it's a meta pick. A lot of people like to go for the mid to late game midi carries right now. Yes, Ezreal and Lucian are still heavily contested picks. However, because they're banned so much of the time, people go more towards something like the Sivir against the Tristana, because you can actually use your blue shield to mitigate a little bit of the damage. Sejuani, always a good pick against anyone that has a little squishy comp, or against a comp that is weak against any form of CC. So far, pretty much what we would have expected.
It would be as we expected. I'm interested to see if they'll take the Corki away and ban it, because Sojin, we saw him last time. Like, they played them against Glorious Gaming, and Sojin popped off on that Corki, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to deal with that again. But that could also, maybe, potentially, mean that they will be picking it in the first rotation. They do have the first ban as they are on blue side, if I am not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure. And not only that, however, I expect maybe... Okay, this is what I want to say. I expect either the Zoe or the Cassiopeia to be taken away from Sujin, because we know how technically skilled Sujin is on champions like the Cassiopeia, like things like maybe even the Katarina, things that require a little bit of skill, or at least require you to know your positioning very well to be useful. And Sujin has that. We've seen that before with the Vladimir, with other picks that he has used. And Cassiopeia is such a good pick if you know what you're doing, and such a good pick if you know how to position yourself and how to put pressure on the opponent. And that's why I love that they took this away, because Sujin on a Cassiopeia will be very scary in the late game.
Yeah, Cassiopeia is definitely scary in the late game. Most of the times we do see, though, that the first pick is the Vladimir. You talked about it a bit before, and you said that you have seen Sojin play before. We have seen him done it before, and they played it very well. Now it has been taken away from them, and Lizard would potentially be on that. Obviously, it could still be a flex pick to go to Perun, but not something we usually see.
I mean, I think this is more a hate draft, because you don't want to give it to Sujin. You don't want to leave that open, because Vladimir, of course, as I said before, this game right now, the meta that we're in, is making it scale to the mid to late game. That's what I see a lot. We see more picks coming out, like the Yasuo, like the Vladimir. Even mids, like the Kassadin, are starting to make their return. It's not only about those early picks. Even the Rise, which we know how of the split push monster he is. Hey!
That's an interesting pick. Jenny Cleaver, I hope you can pull it off. Blitzcrank is a really interesting pick. I personally suck at it, but that's besides the point. He is a really strong support, obviously, at getting those hooks if you know how to do them. Ignar has been playing it very well when he's been playing it. Maybe the most famous player who has played in EU to do it and put it off.
He put it against SKT, and we saw also how that went.
Yeah, that went great. I remember Vegas
wait.
Corgi getting destroyed by it. Now they have taken the counter bot lane. They have taken the Alistar. And that's, a support that can do both peeling and engaging.
Pick the Twitch. Come on. Pick the Twitch or the Astro bot lane. Come on. We all want to see it. Okay, this is probably going to be Lucian, but those are... Damn it. I mean, as I said before, Lucian is still highly contested, and because Lao Gan Ma lost their 3 bans, I think this is why it went through, because normally they would ban something like the Lucian, something that can easily scale to the mid game and then falls a little bit off because it will apply so much pressure. And here's why I think they chose it, because Blitzcrank can hook, Lucian can dash out a lot easier in response. And if they hook an Alistar, I don't think you want to do that, but you can, but he will punish you if you do. So that means Blitzcrank is already a little bit ignored till the mid game, and depending on what they pick in the mid, he will even be punished as well. Because what I can see happen is that GG takes something like the Galio mid, and as soon as Blitzcrank hits that one, he will just taunt you in and go full ham. And it's the same with the top laner. They could pick something, or the jungler even, they could pick something tanky in the jungle, maybe a Zac, who doesn't care if you get hooked by the Blitzcrank and will just punish you because he has his ulti that can easily jump away. And here we see the Corki ban.
There goes the Corgi. We can't definitely mention that.
Come
Also,
on.
do want to mention a bit of a fun stat. If I am not wrong, or my stats aren't wrong,
Oh.
Lucian last week was picked or banned in 11 out of 12 games,
Yes.
which is 91 point something %.
Yep.
And obviously, this one is one of the games where it will be picked as well. Wasn't banned, but it's good to see that this guy's a high contested pick. He is very strong in the meta at the moment with a good early game.
Huh. I'm surprised they actually go for the Jace ban here. We know that Jace is strong in the mid to early game, but that tells me that Lao Gan Ma wants to take something tanky on the top that might not get poked out. Maybe they will take the cannon in response. However, that tells me they might want to go for something like the Sion, something like the Maokai, and that will make Varus and Lee Sin, from what we know right now, actually one of the main carries on the team. And I hope I'm right, because usually if Jace is banned, that means they don't want to have a poke composition against them. And with the Vladimir, with the Lucian, he could carry the early game. He put all the pressure in the early game with Lucian, and then Lizard could take over on the Vladimir and just bring the whole late game down to a crumble. And now I think we're going to see the mid here. Oh, Kassadin.
Kassadin for Sojin. I've never seen him play that before, but if he has a late game scaling up, I am confident in saying shooting him pop off on almost everything.
Okay, so I'm convinced that he will pop off. Not only that. However, I think it's a risky pick. Because you don't know who their mid is going to be. Vladimir can still be flexed into the top or the mid. So, first of all, you're doing that. Vladimir is not so bad even against Kassadin. Both skill. However, Vladimir has that ulti that will go to the whole team. And that will make it a little bit harder for the side of Lao Gan Ma to react onto it. While Kassadin wants those picks. He wants to use the chaos of a team fight to go in full... Wait a minute. We're going to see the Z here.
I don't. We aren't saying anything for certain until it is picked. It is picked. This is an interesting matchup. Damn, this is gonna be exciting.
Okay, so we all know...
exciting picks they do. Blitzcrank and Sid.
Wait. What is Jungleaver gonna pick? We're missing the top laner still.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you expect? We have 10 seconds. Go.
10 seconds, a top laner. Oof, that's actually tough. Urgot has obviously been nerfed, so that's not something I would expect him to pick out. A Cillian.
This means a Kassadin top.
Wait, what the?
No, this is a Kassadin top.
Kassadin top. This is like the 9,000 IQ place.
I don't know how I feel about the team comp coming out from Lao Gan Ma. This seems a little rushed, not thought through, maybe. Because I think they had to do this to retaliate against Zed. Because otherwise Zed will just pick off Ross's Varus or maybe the Lee Sin. And what Zilean can do, he can use that corner shift to be able to keep you alive a little bit longer and counter that extra Guardian Angel. However, they might need it for the late game, but I see a huge weakness on the side of Lao Gan Ma. They are all squishy or squishy-ish. yes, Zillion will allow you to stay alive, but you have no follow-up after that. That chaos will just consume you. Because if Vladimir and Jarvan have a beautiful combo, where if Jarvan can use his Cataclysm to trap maybe 3 or 4 people in, Vladimir can ulti in there, use his E and Q, maybe even his W to a certain degree, to just fully deal damage. Zed and Lucian can stand on the side of that Cataclysm and deal damage because they cannot get out without using a flash. And even Alistar can just jump in and knock him up in there. They have such a beautiful team fight potential to where Lao Gan Ma just seems like they want picks and maybe hope to go through the early game without too many deaths to where Kassadin can carry. But that's still so hard. You have an Alistar and a Vladimir. Even Jarvan knows now, okay, I should go a good amount of magic resist because that Kassadin and Zillion will take over the mid to late game over the Varus. And then Varus is just so squishy here. They have so many people that can easily get to the backline or make an opening to the backline that he will just get one shot. And I think that might be a weakness in that team comp. That seems weird.
It is an interesting draft if we look at it. Some special picks has been brought out today. It is obviously the big match, and the Blitzcrank from Genically was interesting. Cillian from Sodian is something we've seen before, but him picking that so the Cassidy moves to the top lane is also an interesting thing. And Sid is also interesting. Like, so many interesting picks. Sid is obviously really strong. He actually has a bit of like the Fizz thing inside of him. Fizz, when he hits level 6, he won't shield you. Sid kinda has the same thing. When he hits level 6, he goes in, tries to kill you as much as possible. Sometimes succeeds on it.
Yep, and we've seen a rise in popularity for Zed. I mean, Zed was always a popular champion. Everyone, especially like lower elo, people love to see the champion. He can be so skill intensive. He's very mobile as well because of the shadows that he can provide, especially with his ulti. He can even have three shadows to dash around in between, so he can go in for a lot of plays. And with that level 6 buff, actually, because his early game got buffed, for the people that still don't know, that buff came through on patch 8.3, where the champion just got a lot stronger for the early game. However, they took away that passive to where you got the shadow if you killed someone and it gave you more AD or give you part of their AD. That was removed, so as a late game, it's actually a lot worse. However, Zed is still one of the champions that is played more because his early game now is so strong, because he can roam very easily, and because he can very easily get to that backline. If that ADC is Ved, you just throw in Zed, use Jarvan and Vladimir to make a lot of chaos, maybe an Alistar engage with the Headbutt Pulverize, and focus all your attention on the Varus. If that Varus needs to have a stopwatch, or maybe something like a GA, and then still means that those two things are gone after that. Because on the side of GG, their late game, what they want is to get that Vladimir either fed or get that Vladimir to the late game. The Vladimir is our late game carry. Jarvan can easily help Zed and Lucian into the early game. As soon as he has that Cataclysm, he can roam freely. The only one that can escape from anyone on the side of Lao Gan Ma is that Lee Sin and the Kassadin. Kassadin can go out with his Void Walk, and Lee Sin can just jump to a ward if needed. However, the Zillion, the Varus, and the Blitzcrank all have to use their flash, which means that is a powerful summoner that will be down at that point, and that just makes it even more scary to watch.
It is really scary, Sid has such a high skill ceiling, and if Perrin has hit that skill ceiling and all the Qs connect, you get hit by a big load of damage. And we are moving into the game real soon. I can inform you all. We are in the loading screen. At the moment, everything seems to be going fine. And I am wondering, is there any interesting rooms here that you would like to point out? Something that is not usually seen?
Yes, the Arcane Comet on Varus. It's not unusual per se, because we all know that the Arcane Comet slows the champion that you hit. So when he uses his Q to hit a champion, the champion will be slowed and will allow his E to maybe connect easier, or will give John Cleaver a longer window of opportunity to maybe hit the opposing champion with his hook and pull him on the turret. So maybe that's why it's not the most usual, but that's what they chose. Then you have Kassadin with the fleet footwork. That's pretty usual. We all seen that before. And for the rest, I think that's pretty much it. The Alistar is using Aftershock. The Vladimir is using Phase Rush. So for nothing really more special than we would have expected. However, they are thinking about an invade, as far as we can see. They are expecting them to go in. Don't see anything happen yet, but I doubt they will go in blind. Even though they have the Blitzcrank, they should know that they're waiting for them.
They might know. Obviously, it is a normal thing for some people to do, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a surprise for them if they're going to fall into the trap. It seems that they were prepared for something, and they might actually just expect the invade. It seems that has been what they decided to do. You know, Jenny Cleaver, the Blitzcrank usually goes in, and they're probably expecting Jenny Cleaver to do that, and it seems like their response to go 5 people in the bush and be ready. And also, we can see now Lao Gan Ma looking to give up that invade.
And now they
walk
know.
down, and yeah.
John Cleaver actually hit the bush with his Q to try and find someone. However, that bush was warded because they expected them to maybe go through the bot side and gank, which is what you usually want to do if you're Blitzcrank. You don't want to go on the top side because the mid laner will always be around. You want to go through the bot side and then walk all the way down through the cards towards the bot, so you can catch some people out. And I mean, every time, even in solo queue, when you see a Blitzcrank on the opposing team, you always think, okay, there's gonna be an invade, and you play a lot more careful. So I think this is just why they would do it.
That is smart play, you know. Blitzcrank is probably one of the most common champions to invade with.
Oh yeah.
Just because it instantly pulls you towards him if he hits. And at that level 1, it is a lot easier if you stand in this straight line with 5 people to hit. So it is obviously a way that the teams would like to get an advantage, and I will read from GG to try and stay back and make sure it didn't happen to them this time.
I mean, it's either that or it is something like the Thresh, you know, someone that can still hook you. Oh, wait.
We'll see an early engage on the bot lane. Flicker goes in onto Johnny Cleaver after he got hooked. That's the turn around. The tables have turned on around, but he will have to flash away. And the boy keeping him alive. No summon has wasted. Inside of DG. They get a flash from Johnny Cleaver.
Yeah, for sure. This was a beautiful engage by Samus. Knowing the power of the Alistar, where you can just have over someone back, and how nice it can work with the combo, with the flag and drag that Samus can provide. It's just so beautiful to see. And if Sojin continues, he will lose.
Sojin, what was that?
Did he disconnect?
I thought it was a spectator bug or something. He left the game.
Yep.
Are we actually having more issues?
I expect them to have more issues because that seemed to me like an AFK continuous attack that they left that on, because he should have known that he would lose that for sure. That was such a bad
he didn't
idea.
use any spell. It has to be a mistake.
Yeah, it were only basic attacks. Mid DC versed. So yeah, this is a mid DC, and this is how I expected the game to go. Maybe not with that first blood going on to Lizard, who we have to note actually switched lanes, because it's the Perun. It's Perun is now playing on the top side with the sorry. With the forgot the champion name. So Lizard is playing on the mid side with Vladimir, and Bruin is playing on the top side with. Can you help me, because I am pulling a blank right now?
With Artemis? Or what do you mean?
No,
Like
Perun. Champion that Bruin is playing.
Perun. Perun is playing Zed.
Thank you, Zed. Okay, I was wrong. Like, so they
We
actually
all black out
switched that
sometime,
around,
Blade. It's all good. It's all good.
which works perfectly in this case because Artemis needs a lot more time to scale, and to where Perun can go in level 6 and actually break him. If he gets 6 earlier, that even means that he can engage a lot faster, because that Void Rift or the Void Walk, however you want to call it, from Artemis hasn't set in yet, and he has to force out the Flash. So that will just be a huge amount of damage on Perun, who will probably still have the Flash. He even took the Ignite, which means there's a lot more kill pressure on top as soon as he get maybe a pick or something. From what we see, Sojin has his internet cut off. For some reason, his internet disconnected, and he doesn't know what happened. And yeah, this just feels bad. He doesn't even know how he's confused.
Sojin, he has informed us that his internet went out for no reason. The team's already, we will resume, and I want to quickly turn my eyes onto this top lane jungle. Perun is gonna meet Chewie here. It seems he goes in, kind of looks for something, but then again, decides not to do it. Chewie is taking off. Damn it.
Almost cursing there, Duckling. Now, Perun doesn't want to do this. I mean, we know that Zed is strong early. However, Lee Sin, if played well, can easily break down the Zed. If only by the little shield that he can give himself. He has the red buff, which means he will do burning on the Perun when he even basic attacks him. So that will also be a Perun's, not a Perun's favor. And then he has a lot more mobility in this case than the Zed, which allows him to do so much more. Perun was maybe a little bit out of his element here and just wanted to do something because Artemis is freezing the wave on top side. We can see that because the waves actually put forward a lot more than you would have when the lane was reset. And that just makes it that Perun right now is feeling a lot pretty much useless and wants to get something done, but he has no backup, so smart play that he disengages.
Yeah, it is smart, you know, to keep yourself safe. You don't want to give a lead over to the Kassadin in the early game, especially when it should be you are part of the game. But he does obviously know that Yui is there, and they decide that it's not worth going on. Understandable, as we see Samus being around the mid lane at the moment. I hope we will presume into this game quickly, but and we also hope that Tuting will get out. We are going into the game again. Artemis has unpaused it. Thank God. Hopefully there won't be any more issues today. It has been unlucky so far.
It's just unfortunate for the side of Lao Gan Ma. They have been doing so well so far, and from what I've seen with the losses, it's because someone wasn't there. Oh, Prune.
Yeah, Pabloon, he is in a lot of trouble. Had to flash away now. He has the backup though, and he will get out alive. Slodian has TP'd back to the lane, and I'm maybe actually looking to flank here. Samus is taking the Rift Scuttle. Lizard is backing as well as Perrin. Perrin will decide to run, and now they are on the run all together. Lizard procs the face rush to try and get away, but a good Sonic Wave connects. Now they all go into it, and he is so slow. He's so low, has to flash away. Just falls down here and uses splash. Now this might actually turn on the heads in favor of GG, but they are also low. Sotin is the one with the most health, but he gets everyone low, but not low enough. Now in the bot lane as well, try to go forward. Flicker is fighting Gunny Cleaver and Roster. They're doing all the work, and both the supports get taken low. A piercing arrow, one will pierce through Flicker actually, and they will get the kill even when he flashes away as flash form from Roster comes through. Now Others and Killer is trying to get something back, but he won't quite get it as Johnny Cleaver survives for the moment. He is running for the hills, trying to do a bit of damage back onto Roster as he takes a bit of minion damage. But it seems that everything ends and the game is almost back to even.
This looked like such a beautiful pick from the side of Lao Gan Ma. They were so far ahead. They had the priority in the lane.
Oh, they're going in. Ooh,
Like
the dash. Got Artisan kill out there. I actually quickly fucked the rocket grab to do it. But not this time.
Lucian has his dash, which makes him a hard champion for the... Oh wait,
Oh,
jungler's
they'll
coming.
be turned around now. The Flag and
lost
Drag might come in and they are fighting Artisan Killer versus Roasted one-on-one. Now though the Flag comes and does a bit of damage, and that actually gives Artisan Killer the lead as he gets the kill onto Roasted.
That almost went wrong. That seemed to be a little bit of miscommunication there, because Samus was focusing the Blitzcrank while Artisan Killer was focusing Roasted. And I get what you mean. John Cleaver kept him busy a little bit. However, that's still so risky because Varus has that unexpected burst sometimes, especially with the extra added damage that comes from that comet. He could have taken Artisan Killer down, which would have turned it into a 2v1. And because Blitzcrank can be so annoying, he can actually pull you out of the flag and drag. You could just have done that and you would have not stood the chance, because there goes a lot of your damage and engage potential.
Yeah, a lot of the damage and engagement goes on, but I think it might be in a bit of miscommunication, but either way, it ended up in their favor. And they got the kill. They're now sneaking a 1k gold this far into the game. Flicker is looking to make a play in the mid lane. Sodian has no flash. He will, though, run. He got the speed up, at least.
I mean, that's how annoying Tyrion can be. That speed up can be used to get out, but you can also slow the enemy so much with that. Like, if you have that fully leveled up.
He's looking for Gengan to the top lane, going on onto Peruni. He has no flash, he has no shadow. Dukes the Sonic Wave, that was clean movement. Now Samus come in to try and turn it around. The Flag and Drag misses everybody, and Artemis and Hugh will all get out of the fight.
Yeah, that was so...
Well, now Lizard is going in onto Sodian. He has the hero pick to try and kill him. He has been slowed down, and another clockwork to speed Sodian up will get him out. And now, I think...
I mean, this is what's so annoying. We know that Lizard has phase rush, so even though he was slowed down because of the phase rush that procced, he was able to move at maybe a little bit faster than normal, or even the normal speed, to where he was still able to keep up with Sojin, even though, as I said before, he was slowed to that certain extent. And if we look at the itemization so far, it seems that Varus might actually go for the poke build, because he's building that lethality and not something like the attack speed, something like the Rage Blade that works so well with the Varus passive. That they know that they cannot engage on them fully, and they want to use the Varus as a kind of mini gun cannon, to where they can just pull out those piercing arrows and do so much damage on the backline if they hit.
Those piercing arrows can do a whole heap of damage when he gets enough lethality, and it has been a problem I've actually seen people turn more and more to at the moment.
Yep.
We don't see too much attack speed Varus in competitive play recently. Sven this weekend against Cloud9 went for the lethality build as well, and like all of these things. So it just seems basically that Varus has been building more and more lethality and less AD. The usual AD carry build, we can say.
I do agree with you. However, that does mean that it's easier for Lucian to get that pick on the Varus. If Varus needs to hit that arrow, or his damage will surely be lessened, then Lucian can easily maybe dodge using his dash, and then can continue the amount of damage that he can bring if he finds an opening on Roasted. Because Roasted is then like a sitting duck. He will not be able to do anything as soon as a piercing arrow is down in terms of damage. And Lucian is a DPS dealer that will just hit you like a continuous machine gun, and that can just bring so much trouble. That Blitzcrank needs to stay by Roasted side for so much. I don't think he can roam a lot.
I think Lao Gan Ma are lane swapping. It seems that Sojin has moved to the top lane to stay there. It's probably now that Perun has got his ultimate death mark. So with the chrono shift, trying to keep himself safe, but he won't be safe for as long as he instantly can take him down with the chrono shift. Samus was there, he was sitting with the flag and drag, a flank wave from Sojin, but in comes the Cataclysm and the death mark, and it picks him up in the end.
Wait a minute.
Another kill in the favor of them.
That was so close. He almost got the return kill of on Samus, Prune. And yeah, I just love.
Oh, let's look at the bot lane though. The chain of corruption has come out onto Artisan Killer. The static field as well. The heal and the ignite, everything gets used. The flash and heal has been used for Artisan Killer to try and get away. He will get away and turn it on to Chewie, and they both get away. They win the 2v3 fight. That was great stuff from Chewie.
This was beautiful. Oh wait, another fight. Jesus.
Yeah, it is a bit of a clown fiesta.
This is
Or
not
just
something
fiesta,
you
I
would
would
have
say.
expected. This is just going in. And but as we said, this is you don't want to give GG this scaling lead, which they have now. They have 5 kills already.
I'll have to do this here because now Sojin is caught up. He's trying to speed away, but I don't know if he will be fast enough. Samus tries to catch up to him, but he didn't have the flag and drag available, and he will get away this time.
I mean, I love Jarvan. For the people that play with me or check my match history, please don't. But you know, I play a lot of Jarvan lately, and
Yeah, he does.
yeah, Duckling knows. Duckling has watched firsthand. I'm not a good Jarvan, but I'm okay, a decent Jarvan. But yeah, his combo potential with a lot of champions is just so insane. He can combo with Varus beautifully. He can combo with Alistar beautifully. He can combo amazingly with something that has that sustained damage, like with the Zoe or something like a Vladimir, because Zoe can bubble inside your Cataclysm.
Yeah, this top lane, we need to quickly look at that. Chewie tried to steal away with the blue buff, didn't quite get it. The flag and drag from Samus with the smite got it. Tried to see if he could knock up Chewie as well in the rotation, but didn't quite get it. And just quickly want to mention there could have been a fight if he got hit by the flag and drag, but sadly not.
And as I was saying, that Cataclysm is the same exact range as the bubble. The bubble fits in there perfectly. So that means if you're alone or in there, that bubble will always hit. Plus, because we know that the bubble length will get heightened when it's going along a wall or going through a wall, that also works with the sides of the Cataclysm.
Yes, that definitely works well together. It is a pretty good combo. We need to turn our eyes now to this dragon. It has been taken down by GG as well. Lizard tried to go for a fight in the top lane, used the Hemo Plague. Didn't quite fight anything, but now they will fight John Cleaver in the bot lane. The static field won't keep him alive this time, as the calling and the unbreakable will has all been used to do the works onto him. They did work out this time. John Cleaver didn't get away, and they got the kill.
That seems like a waste of the Chains of Corruption, I have to say, because you know that Alistar's ulti can negate any amount of CC that's placed on him, and the Chains
Oh,
count
the
as-
mid lane now. He's going in for the solo kill onto Sujin, but they decided to go further as the chrono shift comes out. He did go in with the death mark and everything. I really thought this was
Oh, top lane.
it out play. Now though, Samus might be on the hunt. He has the Cataclysm, jumps on him, dunks him back to 6 feet under, and he will be there for some time.
And this is just domination from the side of GG. They have won so many games, and they are for sure our strongest team that we have in the league right now, and it shows.
Now in comes Chewie and John Cleaver. They want to get Perrin. He gets another play just before he runs away. But in comes the flag and drag with the flash extension, and he picks up Chewie. Now it's all on the support. He doesn't have any static field left, and he will instantly drop. He won't get Perrin in the end, and Samus picks up 2 kills.
Oh, that's so tilting. Prune was so unbelievably low. And this is why Jarvan is such a good pick right now in the meta. He scales well to the mid game because the Cataclysm is able to single out someone for so long to where you can easily follow up. But not only that, that flag and drag is a knock-up that you can activate pretty much if you land it, which has a pretty big hitbox every 10 seconds. The Q cooldown is about 8 and the E cooldown is about 9 to 10. depending on the level it is. Early, of course, it's 10 seconds both, which means that you can continuously activate it and maybe even use it twice in team fight, depending on the team fight that you're having. And it can be used aggressive, it can be used defensive. He can just be put on different lanes, so he's flexing. I just love it. Jarvan is such a good tool right now, and I'm surprised they didn't ban it away because of how strong it was.
Yeah, Darwin's really strong at the moment. There's not much to add to that. He is really fun to go for the lethality. I have tried that myself. He one-shot
yeah.
quite a lot. Ooh, sadly a low flick. He misses up the headbutt pulverize. Only hits the head spot for the pulverize, but it doesn't matter in the end, as Artisan Killer was held by his entire team pretty much. Other than this, picks up the kill onto Johnny Cleaver again. And now in the top lane, we see another fight. Hemo pick has been used. Animus has to Rift walk away. He will have it up, uses it once. But all the blood has been sucked out of him, but not quite enough to get the kill. A flash forward with the Q. But it won't quite be enough as the transfusion doesn't do enough damage. As Artemis gets away thanks to his Rift walk. And his magic shield.
I mean, this game is already out of control. This is 10 kills in 13 minutes, and it just makes me wonder, is there a way that Lao Gan Ma can actually turn this around? Because with the dominance that GG has right now, it seems so hard.
Chewie trying to go in onto Lizard, but the good pool will stop him. The Dragon Rage doesn't rage enough to get the kill. And now we turn our eyes to the bot. Involved will get taken down, hit by a pulverize, as well as the entire calling. Melts his face down, and Johnny Clear will be the next sport. He will trade one though under the tower. A flash bombs Artisan Killer as he gets one, but will he die to the turret? No! It doesn't quite do enough damage and a double kill. A 2-for-1 trade. As now Samus come in to back him up.
I mean, if you're up against an Alistar that has the priority in lane, he's not gonna make it fun for you, even in the slightest, because he will continuously be able to find those engages. Lucian, a great carry to follow up with, because he has that attack speed. That early game from them is so strong, and I feel like the Blitzcrank Varus is a good combo, especially because you have what the Varus is now doing, which he wants to have the poke, which can do a lot of damage. However, that means your your mid game, the early game, is even weaker than you would normally say it was. So then you just need to play very passive. And from what I've seen, they try to go for these aggressive plays quite a lot. That Blitzcrank has been overextended for at least 3 deaths, maybe, from what I've seen, not counting the dive what happened just now for the Varus. It just makes me hurt a little bit because you want to play that lane safer, and they're playing it a lot more aggressive in a lane that is pretty much made for aggression.
Yeah, not much else to add there. It's a great point you make, Blade. And then we have seen the bot lane from GG now swap the lane up to the top lane, and now Lizard is in a 1v2 situation. Use the Hemo pick to scare them away. The rocket grab will miss, and on the top side as well there is a fight. Sojin might go down. He does have the chrono shift as they try to tower dive him, but in comes 2x. He might be able to turn this around. The chrono shift has now been used, and they turn the eyes to Artisan Killer. A huge flash insect to knock both up, gets double kill for 2. That was good playing. But now on the bot lane, Rostal will probably get taken down by the Deathmark. They're trying to put everything on him, and with the help of the electrocute, he goes down, even though the rocket grab pulled them away from him. They couldn't quite do a lot there, as 2 fall in the bot lane from Lao Gan Ma.
Even though those were kills at one down, I have to say that was a beautiful rocket grab by John Cleaver. They was perfectly anticipated where he would land. However, it seems like this game is totally out of control because the set is 3-0.
Oh yeah, in comes Samus on the top lane. He has the Cataclysm flash away from Sojin. That is pretty good. Will he have enough speed to get away as the Flag and Drag has already been used? It gets used instantly again thanks to the blue buff cooldown. He's trying to kite around, storm down everything. In comes Yuri. They might actually turn it around. The Flag and Drag, will it be enough? The slow from the W, it won't quite be enough as in comes Artemis, takes the 600 bounty gold and says thank you, see you later.
I mean, that's the player you
Oh,
want.
when Yuri's caught out, he just gets instantly obliterated as he goes on the rift hill. That was a quick game.
I mean, that's the player you want.
Samus.
Are we gonna go again? I'm so far behind.
Yeah, there was a fight on the top lane though. Certainly will get chased down by Artisan Killer. Artisan Killer tried to use the calling, did a bit of damage, but just not quite enough. Into Flicker, he doesn't want to give up on the kill. He flashes for the headbutt polarized combo, and he will pick up Sojin after 3 members go for him.
And the cow says moo, and there disappears the farmer.
The cow says moo, and you will not survive.
And you will not survive. When you hear the moo, you know it's death time. No. I mean, this is just getting way out of hand. As I was about to say, you want that goal on Artemis. You want him to skill, because from what I can see right now, that's the only dude that maybe with you is able to carry this team to victory. They are so far behind. This is almost, it is over an 8k gold lead almost. sorry, I can count. It's a 6k gold lead, but if they keep this up, it will for sure be a 7 gold lead, which are only 200 gold in different. No, I won't go in.
He actually win for a bit, but okay, mistake. Quickly realized it went out again. Rocket grab missed, but now it's come Flicker. Uses the Hex Flash, goes in the static field, does almost no damage as Flicker used the Unbreakable Will. A flash away from Johnny Cleaver will keep him safe for this time at least. And Lao Gan Ma survive for a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I think he will go down to the Drake.
as a former support player, if you're not used to playing against an LSR, if you have an AD that has no mobility, playing against an LSR is so annoying. All your CC will get negated, he just has to press R and it means he's super tanky and can go for those tower dives. Even though the towers do a lot more damage now because of the change that happened at patch 2.
Oh, so they might be too far ahead, buddy. He will go down, and he did have the chrono shield, but didn't manage to use it. Hemo Blink used from Lizard, and even if he would have ran away from that, Samus would have been there with the Cataclysm as he and dragged himself towards the wall. So just make sure he was there, if he was needed.
I mean, how strong can GG get? Not only are they probably the strongest team of our league, however, they are playing against one of the better teams in our league as well, which is Lao Gan Ma, who are 8-3. They are at the 2nd place right now, and they are just destroying them. And it might just be that Lao Gan Ma has a bad day, which, come on, if you watched last game, you all know that Lao Gan Ma didn't have the best day today. However, they are even that far behind, even with a bad day. This just seems, even for them, it seems so broken open.
It is gonna be a tough road for them if they want to make the comeback. Things can always happen, and we can all believe in miracles, but this seems like a one with not too much chance. Now they're going to ask him Killer though. He has to flash away, he gets ignited, he gets bombed as well. Tina could have been connected onto him earlier, but he will manage to survive with a flash. Roasted has to flash away from the flag and drag from Samus, so he would have probably gone down in the end.
So normally I would agree with you that, you know, miracles could still happen. However, if you look on the side of GG,
Ooh, Chewy, he's too far forward, has to jump away with the ward and the blast cone. Now though, Flicker is coming saying, no, I am moving and you will not survive. The headbutt polarized combo stalls the time for Perun and says, here you go, buddy, take up the kill, I will get kicked away, but it's all for you, baby. Another kill in favor of Perun. Now the Baron has spawned.
Not only will they get this Baron, because I don't think Lao Gan Ma can contest.
Or can we see a Blitzcrank steal with the rocket grab? I want to, but
first,
it won't happen. I think so.
Down.
Yeah, so Odin gets taken pretty low. He has to use the chrono shield, actually uses it, and like he resurrects, so he did get used to its full position, but he will still fall as Perun surprised him in the bush. Now they try to get split chase the Johnny Cleaver away as the Baron is falling down. He will fall his way even through the aftershock. There is no steal for them happening this time. I don't think it's happening, and it wasn't gonna happen as Samus picks it up. Now Lizard wants to go for the aggressive play, flashes forward with the Hemo Blade, won't quite catch out Roasted as he survives with a slip of HP. He will go back to space and reset it, and damn, this looks dire.
I mean, if anyone wanted to steal that, it would have been Roasted with the Ferris piercing arrow, because he has that amount of lethality on him. He was the only one that could deal enough damage, I think, that might confuse the jungler in Samus. But I don't think the Blitzcrank Crusader, unfortunately. Not only that, the Blitzcrank is 2 levels behind on the other support, which means he has gotten cut out so much, and that Zillion is even 0-6. This just doesn't seem like the Lao Gan Ma that we're used to, the dominant. They either play very dominant, or they have that slowly choking gameplay, where they play very safe in the mid to early game, so they can just slowly use those scaling champions to break your opponent in the team fights, slowly but surely, and their whole team is just, I don't know what they have been done, but I cannot see any good combos. Maybe the hook from Blitzcrank into Sojin's double bomb, but as far as I'm aware, that's the only thing I can see, and they just seem to have no good draft. They just seem to have lost that draft almost. I could prefer it to solo queue. I have had better.
Oh, in comes the engage from Samus. He goes in with the Cataclysm. Everything basically gets used. A beautiful 2-man headbutt polarized onto Roasted and Jenny Cleaver, but Roasted will be revived with the chrono shield, but he won't be revived anymore. And he is down. Now they're chasing forward. Artemis Killer goes in. The Dragon Rage insect, but it won't quite be enough as Artemis doesn't have the damage. He has nothing left. He tries to run, but it won't be enough as the headbutt polarized come in, as well as everything as the death might. It looks so bad for Lao Gan Ma this game. And GG might just close it out here and they might just solidly solidify themselves at the top of SQ1. After 6 weeks, there will be a game clear of the first place team. They take down Lao Gan Ma in good fashion, and they get their revenge from last time.
This game was so insanely fast, and I have to check, but was this faster than the fastest game we had so far?
No, the fastest game we had so far was 17 minutes and 34 seconds.
Oh, yeah, true. However, I just want to point out that, I mean, it sounds like a dick move, but I want to say I told you so. Like, from the point that we saw what they were building and how the team was coming together, we saw what Lizard was doing, what their intentions were, and they had so many good team fight potential to where on the other side of Lao Gan Ma, that team fight seemed to be focused on getting picks, getting someone be caught out, and using the Blitzcrank together with Sojin or Rosted to kill them down, which is a valuable tactic. But then you take something like a tank in the top side, or maybe a bruiser, maybe take something like Kled, who can easily force these engages with the Blitzcrank, who is very good with that combo because Blitzcrank can silence everyone that tries to take him down, and Kled will just hammer away with Skarl. Then you have the Lee, who I do agree is a good pick actually here because he can use that Dragon Kick to disengage or use it on someone else to even engage him and throw him into the Blitzcrank. However, then you have that Zillion that, okay, I see why he's picked. However, I do think there were a lot better picks that you could choose from. If you know that it was the Z, you could take the Galio, who has a semi-global ult. That if he goes in, you just keep on your W so that he cannot follow up, or he will get taunted if he tries to dive you. I just think that the pick on the Kassadin top was just the pick that might have broken the camel's back, and I would not have gone for that.
It was a tough day today for Lao Gan Ma. 0-2 has stand out the day. They need to look at what they've done wrong today and need to improve and show their good old self back next week. We hope to see them back. But a great game from Glorious Gaming. They quickly defeated one of the best teams in the league of Lao Gan Ma in a good style in just 22 minutes. That is all we have for you guys today, it seems. I'm going to thank off personally. I was your cousin today, Duckling, and with me I had the one and only Blade. I hope you enjoyed it too, Blade. I did.
For sure. It was a good night, guys. I had expected a totally different game though, but I'm not one to be mad at it. I think I kind of like this game still.
Yeah, obviously sometimes things doesn't go as you wanted. We probably all wanted a 50-minute long game with teamfights going back and forth and parents getting stolen. But this was not something that would happen today. But we truly thank each and every one of you for coming into the stream. We hope you enjoyed the casting from last game and also this game. And we'll see you all tomorrow.